Audio Jungle.
Hello everybody and welcome. This is Roland from Graphic in Motion. In this tutorial I will show you how to customize my epic 3D Sci-Fi Titles template. So before we open up the project, we just take a look at the folder and what we have got in here. So first of all, before you open up the project, you really want to check out the links folder, because inside that you can find the fonts folder, and you need to install these 3 fonts before you open up one of the After Effects projects. So just follow the link, they are all free for personal use. Download them, install them in your system, and then start After Effects. After you did this, you can choose one of the versions. You know that we have 2 versions here. One is the cinematic version and the other one is the dramatic version. And the customization process for both of them is exactly the same. So I will only show you how to customize one of them. Because, you know, the templates are more or less the same structure, but they are only different in motion and in camera angles and in timing. But the setup with all the controls and the color changing and the changing of the titles is completely the same. So we will just take a look at the dramatic version of this template, and I will open it up with After Effects CS6 now. And because these files were created with After Effects CS5, we will get this message that the original project will be converted. So we press OK and let After Effects convert the project. And now you have to be a little bit patient because Element 3D has to load the preview. And because there are a lot of elements created by our fonts that we use, it can last a few seconds. So here we go. Now you can take a look at what we have here, and we have our titles here. And you immediately see that we have a few compositions already open. And the first composition we want to deal with while customizing is in fact the animation composition. So just enter the animation composition. If it's not already open, you will find it also in our project area up here. So open it up. First of all, what you want to do probably is to edit your title. Now let's search a frame which is more or less in the end of the animation so that we can see our titles fully revealed. So I would consider, or I would suggest something like, 475. And you see now we have our title here. And before you edit the text layer, and you will find the text layer here, it's very important that you turn off the element layer, because if you type something in and element is still active, then you know this can create some problems because element has to recalculate everything, and while typing in new letters it can create some problems. So we just disable our element layer for now, just make it invisible, and therefore we enable our text layer. And now you see the title, which is exactly the same as my 3D elements. And you also can enable the title guide layer. So just enable this one. And now you see what we have got here. So this green layer, the title guide layer, is a help to approximately scale and position your text, you know. It's not vital for the animation that you stick 100% with these dimensions. But if you take a look at the animation, we have a camera that is placed here in front, traveling along here, and another one that's looking from above. And so, you know, if you stay approximately within these limits or slightly over them, then everything should work out fine. Now, to change the title is really easy. You just have to select the text layer, and now we can come up to our text tool, and now I can just mark my titles, and you see that the titles consist of 2 lines, but they are actually on one title layer. So I edit them separately because I don't want to change the font now. I will do this later and show you what this does. But for now, I just want to type in another title. And let's say instead of epic sci-fi titles, I will type in enter your title. Very good. And now you see, I think this is a little bit too small, so I will just scale it up a bit. This was too much, but that it's approximately inside my green square. Like this is quite good. Let's say I do 62. Okay. And now I can change my subtitles. And I will type in here, works with any separated font. And I also want to increase this a little bit. And you already can see that I use the font called Neo Pangea, and the other one is called Abduction. So these are two of the three that you found inside the fonts folder. Okay, so now we changed our title and rescaled it. And when I go to my element layer now, and let's say I will just disable my text layer for now, and I will disable my guide layer. It's very important to disable them and not delete them, because you need it as a reference for Element 3D. And now we will just enable Element 3D again. And now let's wait a little bit, and you will see that in a few moments we have our 3D text here. Okay, so I wrote as a subtitle here that it works with all separated fonts. And I want to quickly explain you what this means. If you take a look at our font here, I will just change to full resolution for a moment so that you can see it more clearly. You see that the fonts that I used here are fonts that have letters that consist of separated parts. So when you take a look here at our animation, these parts get scattered, through our animation. And this is exactly the effect that we are looking for. And this really works with any font that has letters that are separated within itself. You could use a font that just has full letters, but then you won't get this really nice building effect, And I will just give you one more example for a font that really works well. And you can, of course, just go to the internet and, for example, like FontSpace or something. And here I just typed in searching for Sci-Fi fonts, and I will show you some examples that will work actually. And let's see what we have here. So you see this font, for example, would work, I guess, because it just consists of small triangles, and these triangles would be extruded by Element 3D and then put together by our scattering, or more or less scattered and then put together again by our effect. So this would be one possibility. Or another one that I really like is called, I think like something like, I can't find it now. Sorry, I will just search for it. Dazzle Ships font. Oh yes, here we have it. That's it, that's the Dazzle Ships font, for example. You see that this consists of really, really nice shape. I don't think that it's so actually awesome for graphic designs, but for 3D extrusion and for scattering, this font is really great. And I will show you this now. And of course you can browse, font sites and search for fonts that are separated and just try them out, but always be aware that you have to install them, and afterwards, after installing the font, then restart After Effects. So I will show you what happens if we change the font now. So therefore we will just move back to our frame number, approximately number 475, and again just disable element for now and enable our two guide layers. And now I will just take my text tool and mark my main title, and I will change my font to the Dazzle Ships, which I already have installed on my system. And now you see that it changes immediately, and you see that it's also a little bit too big, so I will just scale it down a little bit, like so. Okay, and now if we disable our text layer and our guide layer and enable element, you will see what this does. And now you will probably realize what more or less infinite possibilities this template offers you to create different animations and looks. So again, we have to wait a little bit because Element 3D has to calculate all the shapes, and the Dazzle ship font is actually pretty tough because it has a lot of shapes. But yeah, now you see it's finished. So if we move to our beginning here and just take a look at a few frames here, you see that now this is a completely different look, completely different and new shapes now forming our title. And you can really play around with yeah, whatever font you want, but be sure that it has some letters, or that it has letters that are separated or built from separated parts. So, you know, this was changing the titles, changing the fonts, creating these abstract science fiction, more or less, spaceships that form your title. And now we want to take a look how you can change the look of this. You can, of course, change all the colors. You can change the reflection, colors, and everything. And I will show you how we do this now. So therefore, I will just increase the size here a bit and change to full resolution. And I will stay at this frame because here we have a lot of lights and reflection and the background and everything visible. Oh, sorry, my phone is ringing. I have to interrupt for a second. I'll be right back. Okay, now I'm back. So let's get started with customizing the look of this. And therefore we will stay inside our animation composition, and we just select the color setup layer and move to our effect controls panel. And now you see what we have got here. We have a few light settings here, or light colors, I should say. So first of all, we have the light that's coming from the front left, and this is the light that is actually right here, and this is also linked to this flare here. So we can change the color of this now, and let's say we want to make this warmer color. I will just generate a warmer look now for the whole template here, and a little bit lighter, not so saturated, and let's say this is okay. And now you see this affects the whole look immediately. And now we can go to our light front right. And this light is only doing very little changes in some of our shots. So I'm not even sure where we can really see it, but let's try it here. I can change this now from warm to, let's say, I want to make this cold, you know, really cold. And I'm not even sure whether we will realize it now. But I promise you, in some areas of our frame, you will change, or you will realize a change. So let's change this to cool now. And I just want to create an overall warmer look now. So for my backlight colors, you see that I have two different ones. One is the light back left, and the light back right. And now the light back right is the one that is giving me more detail here. So I will just change this at first, and I will change this also to, let's say, the same color as this one. Or I probably will make it a little bit warmer, or more saturated, a little bit more orange. Like this. Okay, and you see that this does some changes here. And now we can do the same for our light left, but maybe I will just make it not so orange, like so. Okay, and now I can change the color of my background flare, and therefore I go to a frame where I can see it, and I will change this also to a slightly warmer color, you know, not too much here, but a little bit like this. And now we have to match the colors to our background, but at first let's take a look at a frame where I can see. Okay, so now we have to match our background to these settings, and because I wanted to create a little bit of warmer look, I have to change my background. I don't have to, you can of course leave it like this if you like, but you know, I will do it just as an example. So therefore I move down to my BG color correction layer and select this one, and you see that here I have also some effects, and I can now tint this a little bit warmer. So let's go to color like so, but this is way too much, I think. So make it a little bit more orange, but not so saturated. Okay, and now I will just maybe even turn down the the amount of tint to 40%, and yeah, you know. And you can also see that this affects the look of our reflection. So take a look at these areas here. I'm going to change this to blue. You will see that the reflection is affected by this too. But for now, let's make a warmer look. And what we can do also is to change the look of our illuminated parts in our texture here. So when you take a look at the spaceships, at our spaceship titles, you can see that there is some illumination going on. And with this you can do actually two things. You can change the color, of course, but you also can add some elements to it. And I will show you how to do this now. So if you want to change, or if you want to add some text, for example, that appear on your ships, you see that there is my logo in there actually, and it's pretty small now in this shot. But therefore you can just go to our logo composition and you can enter your logo here. So, you know, like always, you can just go to File and Import File and then import your logo. I will just, for now, as an example, import the Envato logo. And just drag it on top of my logo placeholder and just scale it down a little bit, like so. And now I go to my luminance composition. And the luminance composition is a texture layer that is also referenced to Element 3D, which creates the illumination on our spaceships. And you see that we have some windows here, we have some lights here, and we have these lines, and these lines actually move. I don't know whether you saw this in the preview video, but here they move. And you can also see that we have our logo composition in here. So when we take a look where it's positioned, it's right here now. We have two titles here. You know, you can create more, you can disable them, you can type in whatever you want. You know, for now I just had my graphicinmotion.com web address here, but I will change this title quickly to, let's say, envato.com. So, and just, you know, make this a little bit bigger and just line it up with the logo. No, it's just an example. And you see we have another title here, and as I said, you can enter titles as many as you want in fonts, whatever you want. You can enter elements, and if the brighter they are, the closer they are to light, the brighter they will shine. So I will leave this for now, this title, and I will go back to my render or my animation composition and show you what this did now. And now you see we have our Envato logo and the new title in here. So this is only a little feature, you know. It's not very obvious, but it's just a small effect that you can create. And of course, as I said, you can change the color of these. And therefore we just enter our element layer, or select our element layer, and then within our effect controls we go to scene setup. And here you see that we have our space station object, and we have 5 textures on this actually. And now we move to the settings of the Luminance Channel, or illumination like it's called here. So let's go to the illumination, and you see that here we have the color, and I can change this color, let's say, because we are now a warmer look, overall look, to really a little bit of a dark red. Okay, and now when I press OK, and maybe I will change it on the bevel here too. Let me see. Yes, I want to change it here too, because the illumination color should be the same, or it looks better if it is. So let's press OK and just take a look what's happening now. And now you see you have red illuminated lines, windows, logos. Okay, so you know, this is more or less it. So this is what you can do with this template. And now you can move to the render composition. And in the render composition, you can find an overall color correction that I did, you know, and now it's also a little bit for a colder look. So you can just disable the effects and see that it's really very subtle, you know, there's not much happening here. So, but you can play around now with your curves. So probably you want to increase the red now a little bit because we added a lot of yellow here. So, you know, increase this a little bit. And maybe you want to decrease the blue. But you know, this is up to you, how you stylize the overall look. And now you can saturate it more, or I desaturated a little bit, you know, to create a certain look. And you can also change it completely, but that's just, you know, more or less a quick color correction. And of course you want to add your audio, and you see that here is an audio composition, and you can open this up by double clicking on it. And now you can go to File, Import File, and move to your audio folder. And I will just enter my epic intro here, drag it into my audio composition. Actually, you do not even need to do this. You could just drag it right into your render composition. But I did it now, and it's inside the audio composition. And now you can render out your animation. And this is it. So thanks very much for watching. I hope that you liked the template. If you have any more questions, feel free to write me a mail through my VideoHive profile. Or you can also visit my homepage, which is www.graphicandmotion.com. There you can find all my other templates, and you will find also my contact information there. So have fun with the template, create some nice animations with it, and I really hope to see you soon. Goodbye.
Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.